Most of us use the wrong part of our brains to handle grief. And when we do that, instead of moving through grief in a way that allows us to stay really functional in our lives and relationships, usually one of two things happens instead. First, we end up stifling that pain, burying it really deep where it inevitably erupts later at some point in our life in a destructive fashion for our relationships. Or we feel it and we feed it, and it becomes so painful and so overwhelming that we really can't function at all, that we can't tolerate it. So if you recognize either of these patterns in yourself, that for you either shut down your grief and try to get away from it, or you get so lost in it that it's hard to move through your life, it's not your fault. You were probably never taught how to effectively move through grief. In fact, as our society has developed, we have really learned to ignore the parts of our brain that actually can handle intense emotions like grief effectively. I'm Rachael Sloan. I'm a master NLP practitioner and a certified life coach, and I work with divorced men. I help them move on, and I help them start to take control of their futures and find peace and happiness. In this video, I'm going to share with you what I've learned in helping my clients process their grief around their divorce. I'm going to help you understand which part of your brain you need to tap into, because it's not the conscious thinking mind that you're probably using to deal with grief. I'm going to show you how to use the right part of your brain to process grief in 3 simple steps so that you can stay really functional in your life and in your relationships. So when you think of the conscious mind, you're probably thinking of your thinking brain, right? The rational, logical part, the part that can think through things and solve problems. Right? That's how most of us kind of identify ourselves and our consciousness, and that's the part of the brain that we try to use to handle grief. But what happens when your thinking brain starts to work through the pain of sadness, the pain of grief? It usually does 3 things. First, it brings up this slideshow of images, of memories, of almost videos playing in your head of the person that you're grieving, right? And then it starts telling you stories about all of the good times that you are never going to have again. And finally, it makes predictions about your future based on this loss, right? So it starts to predict what the future is going to hold for you. And so often it is painful and lonely and full of suffering, right? So you can see how the thinking brain causes us to sink deeper and deeper into that pain. But it's no longer a clean pain, right? It's not simply the suffering, the grief that comes from loving someone or loving something and losing it. Now it's the pain of all of your imagined lost future happiness as well. It's really, really easy for the thinking brain to take grief and feed it until it becomes despair. But fortunately, that's not the only part of your conscious mind that you have access to, right? There's another part of your brain that I'm going to call the awareness brain. And the best way to illustrate what that is just to have you feel it. So right now, I want you to become aware of your left knee, right? You can feel it. You can feel what your left knee feels like, where it is in space, right? You weren't thinking about your left knee a moment ago until I said it, but you can put your awareness there and notice it. You can do the same thing with any part of your body, right? You can notice your hands, you can notice your feet, you can notice the differences in the right side or the left side. That is your awareness brain. It is your conscious ability to witness what is happening inside your body. The awareness brain lives right here in the medial prefrontal cortex, and its job is to witness, but it witnesses in a very special way. It witnesses without judgment. So the awareness brain doesn't make any meaning out of anything like the thinking brain does. It just watches. And that's where its incredible power comes from. When you're in that awareness brain, you're just witnessing and you're not making it mean anything, all of a sudden you can feel pain, you can feel suffering without all of the drama. So here's how the awareness brain handles grief. It witnesses it. That's it. It doesn't do anything else. Look at how powerful this is. So it doesn't stop anything, right? The awareness brain doesn't stop you from having these huge heaving sobs, but it also doesn't keep you sobbing for hours with endless memories, right? It doesn't resist the pain, that aching void in your chest, but it doesn't make you panic by telling you a story about how that feeling is never going to go away and you're going to feel like this forever. It just watches it in the moment, and it doesn't make any of that sensation or any of those responses mean anything at all. When you do this, when you tap into the awareness brain to handle a difficult emotion, something really beautiful happens. The emotion is there. As you focus your awareness on it, it rises, it swells, it peaks, and then it lets go. There is a moment of release. You would be shocked at how quickly this happens. There's a recent study by a brain scientist, I think at Harvard, who found that most emotions pass in 90 seconds if we don't feed them with the thinking brain. 90 seconds. That is not very long, right? So this sounds amazing, but does it really work? I was skeptical. A lot of my clients are skeptical, and I'm sure that you are too. So here's what I've witnessed with my clients. When they do this, when they allow themselves to feel, which honestly sometimes is hard. I had a session with a client the other day. It was a full hour before we were able to really touch that pain. And when we touched it, his response was, I can't let myself feel this. I can't. I have things to do. I've got kids to take care of. I can't allow this to happen. But he did, and it lasted about 2 minutes, right? And it was intense, and it was painful, and it was hard. And then he said he felt like there was a release. A little bit of a letting go. This is what I see over and over and over again with my clients. And in that letting go, something else happens. Your thinking brain can actually think, right? Because you've handled the emotion, you've allowed it and moved through it, the thinking brain now shows up, and it's calmer and it's clearer. And what I think is happening in this moment is that you're allowing the thinking brain to focus on the things that it can handle. It can't handle emotion. It doesn't know how. And we put all of that onto the thinking brain, and it's in this panic because it's got this problem to solve that it has no idea how to solve. When you use the awareness brain to handle the emotion, you free up the thinking brain. It doesn't have to fix that problem anymore. It can focus on problems that it actually can handle, problems it's made to handle, like what are you going to make for dinner? How are you going to talk to your kids about their grief, about their loss? And when are you going to make time in your day to go to that yoga class, to get your exercise in? That's what the thinking brain is supposed to be doing. It's supposed to be solving your work problems, your life problems, your relationship problems. It is not supposed to be solving your emotions. Okay, so how do you do this? I told you 3 steps, right? These are 3 steps to tap into the awareness brain. I call this process developing limbic awareness, because basically what you're doing is you're taking conscious awareness and you're communicating with the emotional brain, which is essentially the limbic system. And there's just 3 simple steps to actually doing this. The first is to recognize and allow what you're feeling. Sounds really simple, but this is the hardest step. Recognize and allow it. Most of us spend so much time avoiding what we feel. So this simple act of recognizing it, name it if you can. I'm feeling sad. Say that out loud. You'll be amazed when you do that at the swell of emotion that allows to come up. Recognizing and allowing is a conscious act of not suppressing, running away from, or fighting the emotions that come up. The second step is to witness. Remember how I said that study showed about 90 seconds is how long emotions last? So once you notice the emotion, your job is to stay in awareness and just watch it. What does it feel like? Without judgment, without making it mean anything, can you just watch it? Oh, yep, my chest is tight. There's tears coming out of my eyes. Oh yeah, it's moving up my throat and out my face. Now I'm sobbing. Can you just watch it? What are the sensations? How do you experience grief? Not why, not what are you grieving. How do you physically experience grief? Be a witness to that physical experience for at least 90 seconds, but don't stay there for more than, I wouldn't stay there for more than 3 minutes, 5 tops. If you're staying in it that long, your thinking brain is sneaking in and it's feeding that emotion. And the third step is to remember who you are. Because you are not that emotion. You are not that feeling. And you are here right now in this moment, and you are okay. If you do this and you notice that your thinking brain interferes and the emotion is growing or starting to feel out of control, you can come back from that. And I'm going to give you a simple tool for that. To come back, just bring your awareness into the present moment. What do you see and hear and feel and smell right now? Can you pick something up, this chapstick? Look at it. Right? What do I smell? What are the sounds in this room? You can use that same awareness brain, that medial prefrontal cortex, to bring you out of the emotion and back into this present moment. So that's your safety valve. If you go in and that emotion starts to feel too intense or your thinking brain starts to feed it, bring your awareness out. Look at the giraffe, smell the coffee, feel the chair under your seat, and get present in this moment. That will bring you out of that emotional experience. The other thing I would strongly recommend is that you do this with someone. Do it with a friend, do it with a partner, do it with a counselor or a therapist or coach, because we are braver together. And that other person can help you in a few ways. If they're there and they're there with you, you'll feel safer feeling the emotion, just having their presence. So it'll be easier to allow yourself to access it. And then they can also help you come out if you get stuck there. If you get stuck in your thinking brain and that emotion starts to feel like too much, they can coach you back into, hey, come back here now, look at me, listen to the sound of my voice. They can touch you, right? They can help you access what you see and hear and feel now to bring yourself back out of the thinking brain's memories of the past or fears of the future. So if you want to see this in action and see the after effects of how this actually works, go ahead and watch this short video. I filmed it last winter after I had a really sudden bout of grief come up myself. And I did this and I sat with it. And it was just such a powerful moment for me in feeling the after effects of that. So if you want to see a really candid experience of what this looks like and how it works afterwards, go ahead and check that video out as well. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe or join my channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. If you found this video helpful, then you have to check out my free masterclass, How to Take Back Control of Your Life After Divorce. In that hour-long masterclass, I go into way more detail than I can cover on these YouTube videos about how specifically to start to heal, to stop the painful emotions, regain your confidence, and take back control of your future. I break it down into steps and give you a lot of actionable items that you can start using right now today to start feeling better. You'll find the link in the video description below under free masterclass, How to Take Back Control of Your Life After Divorce. I hope to see you on the masterclass and in the next video here on YouTube. Thanks for watching.